The Creator is being hailed as the low-budget sci-fi blockbuster that will save Hollywood from itself, proving that minimizing green screen and maximizing on-location filming has benefits both emotionally and financially. It successfully portrays a dystopian future where humans and AI are at war, with the former proving hell-bent on destroying the peace-seeking latter, a shift in perspective that raises a lot of questions. But before I get further into it, please consider liking this video, subscribing to the channel and switching on notifications, as it really helps us out. The Creator is, for the most part, quite predictable, not least because the key features of its story are exactly the same as Rogue One, but because it asks the same questions as many other films where humans are fighting robots. It asks the audience to question who is more evil, presenting a situation where AI initially appears deadly, revealing that its human creators are actually to blame. Yet, there are subtle changes to the typical tropes that make the story feel fresher, which I will discuss now. As renowned film critic Mark Kermode puts it, the film is sympathetic to the synthetic. And as Letterboxd reviewer Tyler puts it, ChatGPT is punching the air right now, because it's not often the presentation of AI is so overwhelmingly positive. There's usually a robot whose actions change human opinions, and yes, Alfie occupies this role within the Creator, but specifically in terms of changing Joshua's opinion from the Western to Eastern viewpoint. Historically, the West and the East have regularly been enemies, and here the Americans' overly aggressive and narrow-minded response to a single incident paints them immediately and irrefutably as the bad guys, which is an unexpected direction for a mainstream film to take, especially considering the protagonist is an American soldier. The inspirations are clear: the wars in Vietnam and Afghanistan, and also the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, where the real Japanese response contrasts to that of the American response in the film. Essentially, the questions this film poses go beyond the surface, inviting you to reflect on the past as well as think on the future, when considering the moral and ethical repercussions of the events it shows. At the start of the film, we are given a slightly alternative history, where AI has developed quicker during the mid-20th century to reach a more advanced stage in contemporary times. One of the selling points of robots has always been doing all the things you don't want to do, where they cook, clean, and generally appease their master's every wish. In The Creator, it becomes clear that these typical homemaker duties have also moved into parental ones, with robots raising orphaned human children because they cannot have any of their own. They're portrayed as the perfect parents, able to work tirelessly and provide food, shelter, and education without falling prey to their own weaknesses or needs. They are helping solve a worldwide problem that currently overwhelms society. We've all probably seen those adverts encouraging people to donate to help children in poverty. It's a logical use of AI, but one that I haven't been so directly exposed to in other sci-fi films. Where there are robots integrated into society, there's usually a keen sense of unease and terror, such as in the Terminator, I, Robot, Ex Machina, and several episodes of Black Mirror. But in The Creator, the robots are filling an emotional void for these children, and also for some adults, such as Joshua's friend Drew. The film also features interesting religious undertones made obvious by the intertitles: The Creator, which also serves as the main title, the child, the mother, and the friend. These distinct roles can easily be applied to Christianity and Judaism, with God, Jesus, Mary, and perhaps John. I think the analysis of this film from a religious viewpoint would be fascinating, but I don't have time to go into it fully in this video. Still, this layer of world building connects this film even more to human history, for example to the Crusades and to the Jesuit priests who were sent to spread Christianity in Japan. The path to integrating the AI in society within the film is mimetic of the integration of religion in real life. The East is portrayed as being very faithful to their AI, with robotic figures seen adorning their temples and places of worship. One particular reference to religion that moved me was the conversation between Joshua and Alfie about heaven. Alfie asks if Joshua is going to heaven, and he responds with, "You've got to be a good person to go to heaven," to which Alfie responds that they're the same then. They both can't go because he isn't good and she isn't a person. There is something deeply touching about that line, and it provides a critical turning point for our protagonist to align with the AI, to see Alfie as more than just a robot. It also shows how easy it is for a robot to appear sentient when it parrots ideas that are distinctly human, such as faith and religion, and in this case, believing in an afterlife. One aspect of Joshua I loved was his complete disregard for duty. He has a brilliant line where he says, "I don't give a shit about being extinct, I've got TV to watch." And he never pretends to be doing any of this for America or the military that abandoned him. His mission is to find his wife. That's it, and he doggedly pursues it. With that in mind, there are some irregularities in logic that very much detracted from the film, mainly relating to military figures that Joshua interacts with who flip-flop between caring and not caring about him or the AI child. There's one particular moment where the drama would have ended if the sergeant, or whatever his proper rank is, just did his job and eliminated Alfie, rather than tasking Joshua with this for no good reason. This was the most infuriating part of the plot, as it really felt forced in to bridge the gap before the final screw you to America mission that occupies the end of the film. What makes it worse is that it follows a moment where Joshua has to make a life and death decision that actually mattered. His importance and unique responsibility in making this decision was motivated by clear logic within the story, and it was genuinely heartbreaking. This brings me on to the acting. I haven't been a huge fan of John David Washington since watching him in Tenet. I think David Ehrlich from IndieWire describes him perfectly as having an even-keeled screen presence, which to me speaks of a sort of monotony. I feel like he's often trying to give us drama and emotion, but it plays as indifference and sometimes boredom in high-stakes situations. There's just something about his acting that doesn't always move me. But saying that, whenever he was in a scene with Maya or Alfie, he absolutely transforms. Whenever he's not busy being a tough guy action hero and instead plays the husband or the father, he presents far more emotional nuance. In an interview, he mentions how the actress playing Alfie forces him to be honest, and that honesty is very clear on screen when they're together. That actress, Madeline Una Voiles, was only 7 during filming, and she's phenomenal considering the work she had to do and the world she had to imagine interacting with. She strikes a perfect balance between curiosity when viewing the world around her and innocence when questioning things about it, such as the question about heaven, which I've already mentioned. Now back to my opening statement. The main reason the creator is getting so much attention is because of how big of a spectacle it achieves for a fraction of the cost of other blockbusters, bearing in mind the VFX its budget incorporates. It's surprising to me how much Hollywood needs reminding of the benefits of on-location filming and using green screen sparingly. I mean, Tom Cruise has been championing the subject in every action film he makes, though they are costly because of the scale of the stunts, the training required, the technology that needs developing, and the sheer amount of vehicles that get totaled in a given stunt. Still, it's great to see sci-fi given the same treatment, and Gareth Edwards has repeatedly shown the benefits of using this approach in his other work, especially in Monsters. The Creator was filmed predominantly in Thailand, Vietnam, Nepal, and Cambodia, with many of the extras being people who actually live there, and animals that Edwards say would naturally just walk through the shot. To achieve this fly-on-the-wall kind of filmmaking, Edwards kept the crew small and the camera agile. Of course, the similarities in visual style to Blade Runner and Star Wars are very obvious, and indeed are cited for inspiration for the look by Edwards. But I also want to mention a video game that it really reminded me of: Stray. In Stray, you play as a cat who falls into a walled city populated by robots, machines, and mutant bacteria, and set out to return to the surface with the help of a drone companion. What struck me in the game is how embedded in human society the robots are within this city, which they have become the sole residents of. They worship religions, own shops, write music, and pursue a sense of purpose within their lives. The city within Stray was inspired by the Kowloon walled city in Hong Kong, which was demolished in 1994, and the cultural influences on the design feel similar to the creator, down to how the robots dress for their jobs, including bamboo hats and robes. This attention to detail in both this game and the creator helps to ground the robots in our reality and makes them feel part of the landscape, achieving a type of magical realism. It feels similar to Chappie, but on a much larger scale in terms of robot population, and also District 9, but with robots rather than aliens. Both of those films utilize the South African landscape to embed their characters in, human or otherwise. Overall, the creator delivers an enjoyable sci-fi rooted in the real world, both through its locations and inspirations. The logic within its plot falters at times, but doesn't ruin the effect of its overarching themes. Thank you for watching. Please like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe and switch on notifications so you don't miss future videos, and comment below with your thoughts on the film. For more film content, feel free to follow us on Letterboxd and TikTok, links in the description. Otherwise, this has been Tea Break Film Reviews. My name's Michelle, and I hope you have a great day.